Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we are continuing our conversation on RunSmart and exploring ways that we can be the healthiest runners possible. So today we are digging a little bit deeper into one of the training errors that we discussed in a previous episode, and that training error is lack of recovery days or cross-training. All right, let's start our time with a little analogy. So here I have a paper clip, and we're gonna do a little experiment. So if I open up this paper clip, I'm gonna look right here at this hinge right here of the paper clip, and I'm just gonna bend it or put a load through it one time. And you can see it does a great job. But let's just see what happens if I keep on loading it. Eventually the load that goes through the paper clip is enough to create excess load that the paper clip isn't able to tolerate. So that's what we're talking about here today with recovery days and cross-training. We're trying to prevent us from having an excess load that our tissues may or may not be able to tolerate. Now, before we go any further, there are a couple major differences between us and this paper clip. The main one that I want to just really quickly cover is that this paper clip is inorganic material, meaning that this hinge that we turn it on never has the potential to recover. It's only getting worse and worse as I keep bending it. Whereas our tissues, whether that's our muscles, tendons, ligaments, they are organic materials, which means that they have the chance to recover and rebuild themselves to actually be stronger than they were before. So let's talk about recovery days first. Like you saw with the paper clip, if we bend the paper clip too much and too often, it gets to the point where there is potentially excess load through the paper clip and it failed. The same could potentially be true for our tissues. If the same load is constantly put through the tissue without a break, there's a chance that the load could be too high and our body doesn't have the load tolerance to stay happy and healthy. And that's where there's a lot of value in recovery days, especially for people who aren't used to particular loads through their muscles. So we had somebody reach out to us on Facebook asking about what do we think about running streaks, meaning trying to run every day for a certain amount of time. And for some people, that's going to be completely fine. But likely, if you're a brand new runner or you're not used to running every day, a running streak could be a great way to have excess load that your tissues may not be able to tolerate. Now let's talk about cross-training a little bit. If you decide that recovery days are something that are a needed part of your running regimen to decrease the load through the tissues, cross-training can be a great way to stay active even on the days that you're not running. So let's go back to our paperclip analogy. When we run, it's a very repetitive activity. So just like we talked about the first time, if we have a particular hinge, that same one is going to be bent over and over and over as we run. Now on your off days, while this is recovering because we know that our tissues are organic, we can also choose to do cross-training, which instead of bending at this hinge here, in theory would bend another hinge. So let's talk about this, what it actually looks like. So on your off days of running, you could consider doing something like biking or swimming or weightlifting or a HIIT class. Anything else that's going to load the tissue in a different way than running does. Cross-training is a great way to remain active during your recovery days and allows you to continue to progress your strength without having to stress the same tissues in the same way that you use when running. Now, all of this said, every single person is going to be a little bit different, and your load tolerance for your tissues is going to be different depending on who you are, your running experience, and a lot of other factors that we can't all dig into today. So remember, to take a day off is not a sign of weakness. It's actually an opportunity for your body to grow and get stronger and recover. And if you want, you can use cross-training as a way to maintain your activity levels while allowing your body to recover from the loads that are put on it.